Oh, hello. I'm live. Welcome to the replay because those of you who are watching this are watching the replay. Do we have one person watching already? Before we get to talking about the King of Hearts, I was thinking that we could just do a quick little spread for energies for those of us that are here. So let's do that. How is everybody? Let's do a little check-in. How have things been going? Okay, current energies for today. Wow. Jeannie, hi. So nice to see you. So we have 8 of diamonds. Oh, hello. Hassani Ali. Hassani. Welcome. So the first card for today is the 8 of diamonds. The second is the 8 of spades. Good intense meeting of a lot of new people. Oh, that's really cool. I've had the experience of meeting new people too. Hasn't been intense, but it just feels like this is a year for me to spread out and connect with new communities and old communities, kind of a combination. Does anybody else feel that way? Like it's kind of a community driven year? Just the lady I was looking for, your second favorite 3 of clubs here. I was trying to see what type of reading to get off your website, trying to understand my 9 of clubs love. The passion is intense between us, but she's so guarded from heartbreak that I feel like I'm not her typical type and she's settling for me. I wanted to dig into that. Oh, that's really great information. You even met another 5 of diamonds. Oh, the Pisces one, which is Edgar Casey's birthday. Yeah. So the last card is the 2 of hearts. So we're going to be talking about relationship here. Definitely with Hassani just diving in for this relationship. I've got some things to say about the 9 of clubs for sure. And if you want a reading from me, it doesn't really matter like signing up for something. I don't have a place to sign up on the website. If you just go to the Cosmic Connections and then scroll down, and it will just give you instructions on how to contact me. That's just the bottom line. You just text me and we set it up and just do a phone reading. Or we could do Zoom if you'd rather have the visual. I can concentrate a little bit better if it's only the phone. And all the other girls are in my spread. Incredible. Oh, you know what? That feels to me like a really comforting, soothing, like a balm on a frazzled system where it's like the universe is just saying, you just need community, you need your family, you need, okay, that'll work. Good. Oh, I'm so glad. And I usually don't respond to texts in the evening because I'm just that way. I'm a 9 and I kind of shut down and um, yeah, social contact is like, I gotta like really feel it, but I will respond in the morning. And I'm so excited to hear that you want to do that. I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, I wonder if that's ever going to happen. So, anyway, the 8 of diamonds that I've been feeling today, and I will get to that 9 of clubs, don't worry. The 8 of diamonds I've been feeling today is an uncompromising energy. And there was a day when the words to define this card just really came through. And it was the word unwillingness and unwillingness to compromise. And as a 9, when this energy shows up, it's not very frequent, but today I was walking around just going, my 8 is up. That's it. I've had it. I don't care about disapproval anymore. And it's like, I can tell by the way I feel about the driver behind me. I'm like, I just really don't fucking care that you're impatient right now. I'm driving here. And I get into that 8 energy. So those of you that have strong 8 energy might be feeling a little bit of, I don't know, aggression or something. But the essence of this card is that it's going to align you with your truth, with your center. And it is so, so aligning. Oh, we just used the same word. That is so, and we're so aligned. I love it. Okay, and the 8 of spades sitting in the middle is the Pluto placement for the card spread. And I just get a really immediate image to be careful with the amount of force that you have because there is an extra amount of energy today. So just be careful about it, and forcing your way through something isn't the way to go, blah, blah, blah. You know, all the cautions. Be nice, be kind, and remain centered and use that energy to propel yourself forward in your truth. So it was really great for me because I just sort of got thrown into this agreement, and and I just didn't feel very good this morning. Even started to get this little eye twitch back, and my body was talking to me. It was like, "I'm stressed out." Talked to a bestie today, 6 of Hearts. She got me back in alignment with myself, and immediately I knew I had to change the arrangement. And I was like, instead of 3 days a week, I'm going to do 2. This is what feels good for me. So it's like pulling back into your center and advocating for yourself. This is the card of the advocate. That is the essence of the 8 energy. You may be advocating for someone else. I don't know. So the final card is the 2 of Hearts, which to me is intimacy with the self, reconnection with the self, that feeling of like, oh, I'm okay now. Like when you can finally cry, or when you feel joy. You can only feel joy and elation and hope and inspiration and that kind of stuff when you're aligned with yourself, when there's a loyalty to yourself happening and you're just taking care of yourself. So what's the bottom card? The 6 of Diamonds. I don't know. What do you guys think? The 6 of Diamonds is like smooth going. Everything is appointed. Oh, this is a huge download. They're telling me that the energy of the ascension, the evolution that we're going through, there is a streamlined energy. It's narrowing, it's necking down. And when the river has less space to pour through, there's a higher volume. It goes faster and it's a little more turbulent. And it feels like like the universe is saying, okay, we're locked and loaded. And now there's no wiggle room for stepping into your destiny, your destiny. So I saw these incredible clouds the other day on my way down to Boulder to meet with a friend, a dear friend, and the clouds were just talking to me. And I was like, that cloud has not changed for an hour. And it looked exactly like in Star Wars. There's that ship that looks kind of like a shell and it's kind of rough looking on the outside. That's exactly what it looked like. And then I kid you not, right below it, these clouds formed that had nacelles, and it was the Starship Enterprise, and it had this long disc in front, and these nacelles come, 2 of them coming down at an angle, and I was like, okay, I think you're talking to me. And then over on this side, an angel cloud appeared, and I was like, that's unmistakable. And then this other cloud, the one that was a ship, I was like, if you are my galactic family trying to talk to me, then give me a sign. And then the cloud formed a circle in the bottom, like a perfect circle. The clouds extended into a circle. And I'm like, you guys know I love circles. And I'm like, who are you? And they go, we're the Arcturians. And I was like, I love you guys. You're so smart. And I think I have an Arcturian guide. It feels really comfortable to me, very familiar energy. And so I think galactic contact is coming. And if you have had galactic contact, please let me know. Let me know what's going on, because I think we're getting more intuitive. I think our gifts are being really activated right now. I'm convinced of it. And I think that the sun and all the stuff that's going on with that is just evidence of it. But anyway, let's get into, before we get into the King of Hearts, I wanted to just talk briefly about the Nine of Clubs. It's a touchy card. It's touchy because there's this wide open energy of the 9, and the club is open at the top. But the so Hassani, are you still with us? But the openness, it's one half of the equation, because their moon card is a fixed card and it is the Jack of Hearts. And let me tell you, there is a stubbornness. Oh, good. There is a stubbornness and a fixedness. And to me, what it feels more like is I'm really set in how I think about myself, how I think about the world, what has to be, how things are. It will manifest in different ways for different people, but there can be just an incredible rigidity that it's impossible to broach. And so there will be control issues. And I think you have to give them a wide berth, and they have to be able to call the shots, and there has to be really clear communication. I think that's a big piece of it. And their karma card is the Queen of Hearts, which is Neptune, Neptune, right? In this spread, the descending mundane spread that we always use. Here she is. And Neptune, Neptune can be really delusional. But the Nine of Clubs can also just be incredibly approachable. And my nickname for them is the whole story, because they're very verbal and they like to tell the whole story, some more information than you need. And usually a very pleasant demeanor. And let's segue into the King of Hearts, since that's the karma card to their Mercury or their ascending moon. If you go in the other direction, that Nine of Spades sitting is in their moon position, which is kind of it's a card that says, I have the capacity to allow for a very large context for life. So this Nine of Clubs that I know we're on different sides of the political aisle, and she made the most gracious statement after the election. And I was so blown away, because you know how rare that is today. There's just such a spirit of, there's a demonic energy of division, really, that it's like you can't engage with people. It's a deal breaker, and it shouldn't be. It's like, God, it's politics. But they have the capacity to hold space for a lot, I think, is what that Nine of Spades is. And then the King of Hearts underneath it is emotional maturity and graciousness. Hey, Grumpy, so good to see you. In Tarot, it's the Preacher card. Sagittarius vibe to them. Yes, the Nine of Clubs, definitely a Sagittarian vibe. So they're very open and adventurous in their thinking, and they're more likely to be open-minded within whatever belief system they hold, but they're also, I think, more emotionally rigid, can be really fixed about certain things. And the Jack of Hearts is a grumpy talking to you. They're weird. They have an eccentricity about them. They have a uniqueness that is unparalleled. And they have to be so honoring of that uniqueness. There's such a tender, beautiful design to who they are. And I think maybe the rigidity or the fixedness it's a protective thing. So they have to figure out how to navigate that. And anyway, so yeah. So the King of Hearts, what I wanted to do, and it gave me an idea with the Jack of Hearts in Moon. Yeah, the Nine of Clubs, Jack of Hearts, Moon card, or Ascending Mercury. Is their speech tempered by emotional development? That's the question. Because is that Nine of Spades tucked into their moon such that they have achieved a sense of a paradigm that is large enough to allow for and to encompass give permission to everybody and everything to just exist. It's a card that it has a tremendous potential for maturity. And I think it's very complicated to be them. So anyway, that's kind of a precursor, Hassani, to the Nine of Clubs. But then as I tune into you and her guides and your guides, then we'll get a more specific hit on what's going on with the two of you. So I literally just picked up this deck the other day, and I was like, what am I going to make this video about? Because I'm going through kind of a stressful time, and I was like, I just have to be consistent with this. And I pulled a card out, and it was the King of Hearts. And I was like, okay, so why the King of Hearts? I don't know. I think our guides have something in mind, but I think perhaps in relationship to, oh, you're so welcome, in relationship to the times that we're going through, emotional development is extremely challenging, and I think it's really up for us. So if we just take a look at the King of Hearts as a general archetype for emotional development, that's how I see the entire heart suit, but especially the Jack, Queen, and King. Emotional development. They're in the Venus line. They're about relationship. And they're not relationship 101. They're the 500 level courses. So people who have these cards really prominently in their hand, not always, of course, but very likely are going to have very challenging relationships. And it's not because they're screwed up, it's because they signed up for an advanced course. I firmly believe that people in the Venus line, primarily, I guess, is what I want to, that's the addendum. So, the King of Hearts, I think it's more important for us to begin with the pure spread. So, here they are in the Venus line. Saturn Venus, is it, or Uranus Venus? Oh, Uranus Venus. I hope the astrologers weigh in on their take with Uranus, but Uranus is consciousness expanding, especially if it's the vertical Uranus. So this vertical, that's what I mean, vertical Uranus. So it's for the purpose of expanding consciousness, and the King of Hearts, and the Venus, of course, is about beauty, the feminine, the relational, the emotional. Beauty, I think, is a really, really underrated, do we want to call it virtue, quality, aspect, something that can bring such calm and return you to your humanity in a sensory way, in a nervous system calming way. So anyway, yes, the King of Hearts is about expanding consciousness, and the most difficult things in relationship that cause us to grow are the Uranian things. Our partner did something unexpected. Somebody just totally dumped us as a friend or whatever. Or they come home and say, I want to have an open relationship. Or the unexpected, the things that don't fit into our routine and our paradigm and our, just talking about the Nine of Clubs. I mean, we've all got some aspects of that rigidity and narrowness, and this is how I'm comfortable with life being. And then, who better than a friend, a Venus connection, a relationship, to throw something unexpected in there, to really challenge us to become more loving, more gracious. I think that is what the heart suit is all about. I think that's what emotional development is all about. So love, not caretaking, unselfishness, not sacrifice. And of course, it begins with loving oneself. So with that little tutorial, let's move on to the descending King of Hearts position. What can we learn about from its placement here in the vertical Venus heading up the Mars line? This is where I'm going to talk about my brother and other King of Hearts that I know. They are unusually gracious, clear speaking, clear thinking. The Mercury, the divine Mercury, I call it divine, the vertical, there's an energy of being a spokesman for something. And my brother, definitely, as a King of Hearts, is a spokesman for what needs to happen. And that's kind of a Mars energy. What needs to happen here right now? What do we have to do? What do we have to make happen? It's a very hands-on thing, but it's emotionally sensitive. So it's not just in terms of logistics. This King of Hearts is very skillful with people. So the very first description I came up with for the King of Hearts, and I'm sure you've heard me say it before, is playing chess with love. So gaming out, if I say this, this is likely to happen, or this person is going off on me right now, and I have a larger context to understand why that's happening. And I'm going to sit here quietly inside myself and plan my response and really consider, I'm going to draw from other places than just a reaction. I'm going to really contemplate this. I was actually able to do that when I was with my daughter in Portland last week. It was great. She's grown a lot, but there was this one tiny little run-in, this misunderstanding, and I was just sitting there letting the wind blow and being completely neutral about it. Okay, so let's talk about Grumpy. Whoa, what language are you speaking? Un king de inmima forte cunoscut pe internet a seven bomar. That is very strange. Tell me what that means. Jeannie says, understanding the responsibility of emotional interactions. Yeah, I like that very much, bringing that word responsibility into it. And all kings are going to be about mastery. What is mastery? What is growing up? It's about taking responsibility for yourself, for your development, for your issues, for your needs, your reactions, blah, 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 all that stuff. Okay, so Mars and Mercury. A very well-known king of hearts on the internet is Seven Bomar. Oh, okay. Savan. I don't know this person. What does he do? I should just look him up, right? Oh, that's fun. Let's see. Other famous king of hearts. Brad Pitt. Jacqueline Onassis. Those are the only two I can think of. But they have a presence, don't they? They have a, I don't know about Brad Pitt. I really don't know about Brad Pitt. I feel like he's very occluded on purpose. But you can definitely get a sense of what Jackie was all about. Grace, I mean, that's the word. Definitely a grown-up. The Two of Clubs underneath it means there's going to be some karma in regard to communication. The Nine of Spades means there may be some karma in connection to death or endings. I think the Two of Clubs is very tricky. Now, tell me what you think about this. I've always felt like there's an energetic pairing between the Two of Clubs and the Three of Clubs, and between the King of Hearts and the King of Diamonds. Now, when you add them together, you get the King of Spades. And the card that you add to your card to get to the King of Spades is very significant. So your card minus 52 is that card. And I feel like it's like a sparring energy. Oh, wonderful. Michael Phelps, Ralph Schumacher, Susan Hayward, Lena Horne, Jackie O, Beatrix Potter, Sally Struthers, Mother Teresa, Nia Vardalos, Linda McCartney, Jim Henson, Catherine Deneuve. Catherine Deneuve. I love that name. Joe Biden, Robert F. Kennedy. Oh, isn't that interesting? Katie Holmes, Brad Pitt. I recommend this work. His work. Okay. I'll look it up. I would recommend the work of any King of Hearts. You know, it's going to have some weight to it. Wow, you know, Beatrice Potter pops into my head about communicating with children and thinking up this whole world. And my brother, so the Two of Clubs, Three of Clubs connection, I feel like authors creating a whole world with that Nine of Spades. Definitely betrayal in partnerships is a bit of a theme here. Yes, especially if you want to understand the King of Hearts in its best version. Oh, that's great. It's really great to meet a person of their card who is really exemplifying the positive. And we will go to the Ascension hand to talk more about their development, because as I'm spending time with people who are really developing, like just have accelerated so far beyond where they used to be, I really feel like the mundane spread has not had the capacity to explain them anymore. It's like it's just kind of a withering vine. And I'm going to experiment more with using the 43rd spread to understand their ascending hand. Excuse me, I just belched. Okay, so anyway, that King of Diamonds. Um, the King of Diamonds is so much more about the enterprise, the business. And you can't separate these two kings, I don't think. One is having a very personal, satisfying, emotionally fulfilling experience. And the other aspect of them is very business oriented, pragmatic, more of the Mars vibration, that King of Diamonds. We can see a lot of diamond males reverting to this king, especially the odd numbered ones who are uncomfortable with their odd numberedness. And they're living out the hand of the King of Diamonds much more. And they sort of lean even harder into just being pragmatic, practical. It's all business. Oh, don't forget to hit the like button. I've been doing that more. When I watch a video, I'm like, oh my God, they have thousands of subscribers and they have like 200 likes. And they should have a lot more. I gotta tell my daughter, doing a live. Does my alive. Ugh. Merging Spirit. Hi, Six of Spades. How are you, Sharon? One love. So, with a lot of fire in communication. Yeah, the Mars. The Mars fire and the Mercury. My brother, this King of Hearts, and tell me if you know, is this true about other King of Hearts? I think they keep it pretty well concealed with their very mature emotional demeanor and presentation, but they're capable of anger like I have never seen. Our whole family had kind of a rage addiction that we've each had to kind of address individually. And man, when it explodes in my brother, it's scary. I mean, it's huge. It's just like, so is that the fire in the Mercury? Is that the Mars and the Mercury? Definitely very passionate. And that might be the only negative thing I will ever say about my brother, because he is just an amazing and exemplary human being. In fact, when I did my write-up for the King of Hearts, I was too positive because I didn't know any King of Hearts that were more subject to their, their issues and stuff. But I do feel that they have a gift of communicating big, important things. He does a lot of public speaking, but he also has a speech impediment, which I find very interesting. It's like, and he's had to get over that. Yes, I had a King of Hearts Leo roommate. Wow, that's big energy. It could be emotional blockages as well. Yeah. Well, so they have a Two of Hearts in their moon position, which gives them belonging in the circle of seven, which I think always adds to the intensity of the karma between people. And I'm circle of seven, and we've definitely had our run-ins. That Two of Hearts in the moon position, I think, means that they just have such a hunger for intimacy and to be understood and known and that kind of thing. And then they're sitting on a two, the Two of Clubs. So they're very relational, very engaging, willing to engage, I think. The pressure is also high on the court cards. Oh, yeah, because there's more responsibility to be the vanguard for this suit. They're in service to their suit, and it's like public service. When a public servant really gets it that they're doing a public service, and a lot of the job sucks, but they know that they have to sit in that place and hold that seat of power. The card of conversation becomes a challenge. Yeah, oh, okay. Two of Clubs, special speech impediment. The Two of Clubs as a challenge can create that for the King of Hearts. The card of conversation. But yeah, that makes sense to me, that it would be, I never even thought about that, how obvious. Two of Clubs, karma, communication, King of Hearts. He's got everything on a platter in his life, but he has a speech impediment. And here's something very strange I've learned about the King of Hearts. They have, an unexplained fear, an irrational fear. And when they tell you what it is, they'll go, I know, it's ridiculous. Like I know a very wealthy woman who is a king of hearts. And I said to her, what's your secret fear that doesn't make any sense? And she goes, of being homeless. There's absolutely no rational foundation for it at all. And my brother, even though he's been very healthy his whole life, he's got kind of a morbid fear of becoming really ill. So that's the Two of Clubs too. What is their hidden fear? And I think it's an internal assignment that they have that allows them to build maturity, gives them an opportunity. It's their classroom. It's a classroom. They tend to deal with PTSD. I wonder if it's carried over from past life. A past life regression should clarify the root of those fears. If they're not too rational to consider a past life regression, it's something of a challenge for them. That is fascinating. I agree with you. I think we have something there. I think there is some PTSD. I mean, we all have it to some degree, but with them, it's kind of pointed and specific and really clear and doesn't seem to hamper them in their life too much. They just carry on. But it's hiding inside there. And I think they'll share it with people that they feel safe with and that they really trust. Okay, now let's take a look really quick at the, where does the King of Hearts sit in the Ascension spread? Okay, it goes to where it's renter. Okay, here's how you find the Ascension position by going to the home of its renter. Its renter owns real estate somewhere. Who is the renter? The Nine of Spades. Where does the Nine of Spades live? What real estate do they own? The Nine of Spades is down here, and that's the Ascension position for the King of Hearts. So I'll say it one more time. The real estate of their renter. The Ascension position will be where your renter owns real estate. Okay, so what does it mean to be vertical Uranus? Again, vertical Uranus, and here they are, vertical Uranus up in the Venus, but in the Ascension, it drops down to the Neptune. So maybe dealing more with possibilities, with dreaming, with, okay, it's Ascension, so think positive. We're not going to talk about addictions and illusions. Neptune is more about giving us access to, oh my God, this is so true of my brother. Just had one of those waves of like, oh my God, the cards are such a thing, right? Uranus, Neptune. Thank you. Vertical Uranus, horizontal Neptune. So the way that just really hit me is that he had some pretty serious challenges early in life with the stuttering and feeling very unlike the other men in the family, his two older brothers and our dad, just in a completely different category. A genius by a lot of accounts. Just an incredibly unique, vastly intelligent person with a very sensitive handicap. And when he worked through that and gained mastery over himself, which he told me the moment this happened, he didn't even know I was looking for this information. But he told me the moment that he dealt with his nemesis, he was on a bus in Europe on some high school trip looking at the Palace of Versailles and identified a voice in his head that was very negative. And he just like took it by the neck, named it, and put it over there and said, you are not going to run my life. Very cool. So once he did that, it opened up the gates of possibility with the Neptune vibration. Neptune, I think, it allows us to dream. And he started a chamber choir in his 20s. Also found his soulmate. They have the healthiest, happiest relationship of anyone I've ever met. He's on a vacation life, so you can't compare yourself to him. But he started this in his 20s and it's still running and it's been enormously successful. Enormously successful. They're on the public radio. So he had a dream and a vision and it came true. That was the whole point of that story. Again, impacted by karmic fog, but also the ability to transcend the conditioning. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about, is that I think he transcended the conditioning. And isn't that what the King of Hearts, I'm going to just let my hair down. Isn't that just what the King of Hearts, the maturity, if we're going to look at what is emotional development, what does it look like? And it's transcending your fear, the Two of Clubs, learning to communicate. The Two of Hearts in the moon position is really establishing that fundamental, foundational. Wasn't I just talking about that? Because the Two of Hearts was our last card in the short read, which is alignment within the self. And you really can't actualize in the world without that primary alignment. So they've got that in their hip pocket. And then they're dealing with articulating their truth, dealing with the amount of passion and force that can come along with that. And then when they can move, okay, so the ascending hand is the first thing we look at. Rather than going all the way to 43, the 43rd spread, let's look at the mundane spread and consider the ascending. I need a little pointer. I'm so primitive. But hey. Okay, so if the King of Diamonds becomes their moon card, then they go this way. They go Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Ace of Spades. I guess we don't treat them that. Oh, wait. What would be the difference between a man and a woman born under this card? Excellent question. I guess we don't treat them the same. Very true. The women are a little masculine. I would say their masculine side is better developed. I think that they're still always, looking for that relationship. And, the female King of Hearts, are they fulfilled in their relationships? Jackie O. And I'm thinking of a friend here in town that's always been a real rocky path. But there's just a real self-sufficiency about them. But what I have noticed about some of so there's the King of Hearts, and then here's this line. And if you're below the line, the kind of low functioning ones, instead of having power, the male King of Hearts are going to be subjected to a very dominating and emotionally immature and oppressive woman. We have terms for that, and I just don't want to say them. You know what I mean? But I've seen that very commonly with like the King of Clubs. The low functioning ones don't trust their own take on anything. It's like there's a complete absence of that the boldness of the king. The King of Clubs is like, I know what's true. And then occasionally you'll meet one that they can't lift a fork without throwing a tarot card or choose a sock. And then this King of Hearts supposed to be, emotionally mature and responsible. And there's a couple of them that are extremely low functioning with no sense of self, like an absence of an emotional center. Isn't it weird? It is so weird, but I've come across that a number of times. Does anybody else want to weigh in on that question? The masculine and feminine female King of Hearts and how they're different from male King of Hearts. I just see them as kind of more self-contained than the average female. So the King of Diamonds in their moon position, ascending moon, would, like, they've established themselves and now they can really sit on their throne. They can go anywhere. They can navigate with absolute confidence. Okay, this is a slight change here, but Maggie Smith, the one that plays Professor McGonagall, she's the Three of Hearts. And in the descending hand, she has the King of Spades in her moon position. And when I studied Three of Hearts, I had to study famous ones when I wrote this up because it's a really rare card. And I noticed that it's where I developed the term emotional launching pad. Your moon card is going to tell you about your emotional launching pad, which will have a direct influence on all of your relationships. It's like you're encoding. What was your emotional launch pad? So if they go into a self-actualizing mode. Okay, so my brother's emotional launch pad was my mom, and there was some codependence there, but he turned it around, literally went into the ascending. And so maybe for the masculine King of Hearts, when they really establish themselves as a sovereign being, they find that King of Diamonds confidence, then that Two of Hearts allows them to actually form a really healthy relationship, and they can separate from mom or dad. Another difference is that all women have a connection to the queens, thank you, Jeannie, of their suit, while the men have a connection to the kings and jacks of their suit. Yes, Brenda, very nice to see you here. Right, so this is especially true. It's very, very apparent with like female jack of clubs, female jack of diamonds. They're going to be very different from the male ones because they have to shoulder this irresponsibility karma of the jack, but then they've also got the queen. And the queen of diamonds she can be very pokey. She can be very nasty because her life is a shit show. Okay, cut her some slack. But once they've grown through all of that, they're incredible. Me being a diamond female, hello. So yes, you just summed it up, Jeannie. Okay, so moving on a little bit more, they would be going through the Venus line in the other direction for their ascending hand. Teacher, I'm getting ready to eventually teach this stuff. How am I doing? Oh, you know, you know. Do you just need a hug? People must have looked at me like this for years. I remember somebody telling me that he was my mentor, my spiritual teacher, Nine of Diamonds, and he said to me, you're ready to teach. And I didn't get in a position of even giving readings until about 10 years after that. But he was right. He was exactly right. And Jeannie, that's the truth about you. You're very, very good at what you do, very skillful. And it's just a matter of, I don't know, overcoming. When you're answering a calling, there's always a thorny issue that doesn't make sense to anybody. It's not rational, but it's evidence that it's your calling because that thing is showing up that's holding you back a little bit. So, hey, sign me up. I want to come to your classes. You're brilliant. I still think we should team teach, but I don't know if I can get my shit together in this life ever enough to do something like that. You have good consistency in chat. Yeah, she totally does. Aw, right on. Okay, so a little bit more time with the ascending hand. Do we want to look at, okay, let's look at Nine of Spades in Venus and Nine of Clubs in Mars. In the positive, this is going to make the mature King of Hearts, really approachable. Like you're so welcome. A high priest and a minister vibe. You can come to me and I will help you with this. They're established enough in who they are that they can afford to be soft and permeable. That's how I'm thinking of the nines. And I'm sort of talking out of my ass. I'm not talking out of like, I know this because I've met them, just throwing it out there. But if we think of it archetypally, that's how we can be when we develop emotionally, is to have a sense of availability. I can afford to be completely available to you because I am established within myself. I've got that King of Diamonds in my hip pocket, and I will not betray my integrity for anything. I am in alignment. when you think of the mechanical definition of the word integrity, it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like where a machine has integrity, the structure has integrity, it's aligned. I think the key word is alignment. So integrity within the self is alignment with who you are, with your truth. And when you have established that, you can go in the world and navigate. I see the kings as very tribalistic in nature. That's interesting. Go girl. Yeah, you've got all the support in the world. Should we do an interview on my channel like I interviewed Dela one time? We did manage to figure that out. It would be so much fun to have you on my platform and interview. We did that with Sharon too. Wasn't that intense? Sharon, you brought the fire, girl. That was super intense. Yeah. So Jeannie, I do have a picture that I could use for the thumbnail. Anyway, we should while the kids are in school. Yes, absolutely. So they're back in school now, right? And we'll just can we do this time? Tuesday, between 1 and 2, Colorado time. This is the motto of the most. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So tribalistic. I don't really know what you mean, Grumpy, by that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't connect with that word. I don't know what you mean. I think they can be, when I think of tribalistic, I think of very group minded and my little group. And the kings, especially King of Clubs, because there's more of them, probably, that I can say this. They can be very difficult to deal with because they're utterly sure of themselves. And whenever I throw this insult out at them, they always laugh. So I hope that is true for you if you're a King of Clubs, but they kind of have this attitude like, isn't it obvious what's true? Like, oh, it's like there's this feeling that they just look down on anyone that thinks differently. That's kind of tribal. You pick up the kids at 2 year time, which is, you're in New York, right? So that's 12 my time. Do you have the kids now? Yeah, we'll have to communicate. They draw in a lot of, okay, that's more 10 energy. They draw in a lot of people, but they have these intimate little tribes they vibe with on the down low. Okay, yeah, the 10 is more, yeah, about the group. A tribe can be anything: family, work environment, spiritual community. Oh, I see. Yeah. And there's also a very hearty willingness to support that community, which is really beautiful to see, like a commitment to this group. They definitely have that energy of responsibility. Let's plan on next Tuesday, Jeannie, and we'll announce what time it is on Monday, and we will just do it, whatever time works for you. Oh shit, you know what? Between 12 and 1 might not work for me, but any other time. I'm sure we can find it. It might end up being a morning thing. But oh my god, that's gonna be so much fun. Because you guys all love Jeannie. She gives so much in these chats, doesn't she? You're so generous. That's that 5 of Diamonds generosity. Okay, so yeah, I like how we pulled out that yeah, it is the nines, this generous energy, 9 of Spades in Venus, 9 of Clubs in Mars. Very, like, I see them as the movie director that everyone likes to work with, because they're like, they were really open to my ideas. This was, whenever you see those DVD special features and they're like, this was the most fun I ever had making a movie, because he was like, just go with it. Let's try your idea. And like, I think that's the openness of that 9 of Clubs. Contrasting to that, we have the Jack of Hearts, but it's in Jupiter. That's really powerful. Jesus in Jupiter, the Christ archetype in Jupiter, at its best, at its most expansive, at its greatest capacity to bless. The mature King of Hearts can be self-effacing without losing their dignity, without losing their alignment. It makes them more, all jacks make you approachable. But this jack is like expansive and embracing. And this is the way my brother holds a huge auditorium or church filled with people. Like the cathedral in Denver, he'll fill it up with one of his performances, and they're just transporting this music. And the way he communicates with the group and just holds them and pulls them all in, it's just, I think part of that is that Jack of Hearts energy. Like it's ministering, but it's really warm and engaging and approachable. Okay. I know many Nine of Clubs, including my sister. Oh, isn't that so cool how Hassani brought that in at the very beginning? And it's come into this video, this live. Okay, so moving on. Yeah, so the Jack of Hearts and Jupiter, what's their Saturn? Ascending Saturn. I need to just write this all out, what the ascending manifestation is. The ascending Saturn is helping to call others to their purpose. It has a connection with, so if you think of all of this as in service, and it doesn't have to be in service, but when we're really evolved, we tend to just want to give. And the Five of Spades in a giving mode, helping to call others to their purpose, helping other people to grapple with their Saturn. Maybe it's a voice of authority, maybe it's a father energy that can speak in a healing way. What is the Five of Spades? It's adventure. I'm weaving this together. I have no idea where I'm going. Five is the willingness to make a change, to change gears. Travel is definitely a big theme. She's an anthropologist now, living abroad. One thing I've noticed with all Nine of Clubs is it helps them to travel so they can learn to really let go of old beliefs. Oh, that's the Sagittarian thing. I love the juxtaposition of that. That's so alchemical. Alchemy. Jeannie, isn't that part of your brand, alchemy? Because you just alchemized that. You are an alchemist. I love you're an alchemist with words and ideas, and you just make them so approachable and usable. Long travels, yes. So I don't know, I'm kind of coming up with a blank on that one, but the Ten of Hearts sits under that Five of Spades, and it definitely feels like, again, this theme of being able to pull in a group, which is ruled by Sag, right? And that Five of Spades is Mars Venus. So it's kind of sexy. I don't know. Now, in previous videos, we discussed ascending Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and they got weirder and more amazing and interesting as you go. And I don't remember what we said, but I did write it down somewhere. But we're kind of getting low on time. Does anybody have anything else to say or add, or like a little push for maybe another direction that you want to go in? Because we didn't even explore the fact that the ascending, the 43rd spread for this king, the ascending hand has three kings right out of the bottle. King of Clubs, King of Diamonds. And then if you go in the other direction, the descending, it's Four of Hearts, Seven of Clubs, 10 of Diamonds in the pinnacle, and King of Spades. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, King of Spades, and Jupiter. The potential for this card to achieve their dreams and positions of power and leadership, hopefully for service, are just huge, absolutely huge. They do sit Saturn, Venus. Okay, we're talking 9 of clubs. So going to other places to see how other people live and experience different cultures helps Saturn, Venus themes. Yes. Could we also say Saturn is just like the practical ordinary and Venus is people, like just going and seeing these people's lives? And then the 5 of spades is ascending Venus to them. So when 9 of clubs are in an ascension mode, they want to connect through travel. I like that. Fantastic. I didn't just say that. I did. Okay. Okay, I'm going to try to sum up the ascending Pluto because I vaguely remember what I came up with. It's like it was channeled. Your ascending Pluto, it's something that happened to you some time ago. It changed your destiny. Jeannie, remember we were talking about this? It really fit for you. It changed the course of your life quite dramatically and put you on a distinctly whatever timeline. It changed things for you. And it's ultimately incredibly positive, whatever that ascending Pluto is. Let's see, what's mine? Mercury. My ascending Pluto is the 3 of Hearts. Yeah. How my marriages ended, most of them. Then, God, talk about emotional drama, extreme pain. Oh, did I blink out there for a second because I was sharing information that was too personal? Yeah, and this fit for Jeannie too because her ascending Pluto is the Ace of Hearts, which is a baby. So the ascending Pluto for the King of Hearts is the Ace of Spades. And so I think it may be like a rebirth experience, something very transformational, something that has to do with seeing beyond the veil. And for my brother, one of those experiences was grabbing a hold of that nemesis by its throat and seeing through the veil in a way and saying, "Oh, no more. You are not going to run my life." So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of running dry at the moment. I think I've kind of exhausted the subject for the energy that I have today. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you all so, so much. If you're watching the replay, please remember to hit the like button. It just helps my algorithms. Sounds like some part of my body or something. My algorithmic systems. Yes, see you all. Just such a delight to see everybody. And you're welcome. And we will see Jeannie's face next week, God permitting. Wouldn't that be so nice? We don't know what time, but I'll announce it on Monday. Okay, bye.